Welcome back, guys. Hope you've all had a good week. Now, seeing as the clutch and the flywheel went so well last week, we're going to have a go at the Gearbox this week. Let's go and take a look.
Are you listening? Damn.
So then, guys, the Gearbox, the job that none of us have been looking forward to. Every video I see online, people put their engine and gearbox together and they lift it in, it all looks nice and easy and straightforward. We chose not to. We chose to fit the engine first on its own, which was an absolute cream job. It's an easy job, quick install, and we thought we'll just slide that gearbox in. I don't think it's going to be quite that easy, because I've had a little measure up, and as you know, we are BN2 box and we are 106 bell housing on the BM1 4-cylinder 2.6 original engine with an adapter plate on the back of the engine. And I've just measured the width of our tunnel opening, and then I measured the width of our bell housing, and the bell housing's bigger. So that's going to make things a little bit difficult. I had a little look in the original manual, and if I find a picture I will put it here, and it shows the box simply being lifted into the car just like this. But obviously that's the 3-speed bell housing, which I'm assuming was a little bit smaller. So if we run into issues, it is what it is. Now then, before we get too deep into this video, you will see Dad in the video today potentially. He won't be physically involved, but he will be there. That's because, without being rude, Dad, he struggles with his shoulders. He's had bad shoulders since I was a kid growing up. And he's mentally there, but he's not physically there, and he won't mind me saying that, because you know he struggles a lot with his shoulders, and heavy lifting work like this is gonna set him back and give him trouble. So there's no point in him getting involved. So he's gonna use his wise mind, and he's gonna stand there and shot call and say, don't do this, do that, do it like this, and we're just gonna crack on and get it done. So I've enlisted the help of my mate Scotty Bell, who's gonna give us a hand with the humping and bumping. So without further ado, I think it's time to go time-lapse mode and get into it. Oh, one more thing before we go. There's a couple of different input shafts that I've seen online. Some of the 106 input shafts are longer, some of the bell housings are shorter. So I've taken a lot of measurements, put a steel rule across the bell housing itself, measured how much the input shaft sticks out, then measured from the adapter plate on the back of the engine into the depth of the spigot bush, and everything dimensionally lines up. So we're happy to proceed and pop it in. Enjoy. Enjoy. So there we are, gearbox installed. Now that video got to the stage where it was forwards, backwards, in a bit, out a bit, and it was just a case of fiddling and forwards and backwards until everything lined up. The splines on the input shaft went into the clutch, and then the tricky bit at the end was getting the plain part of the input shaft into the spigot bush in the crankshaft. Now eventually we got it all in and got it lined up, and it all went pretty well. We've put our foot on the clutch, we've connected up our slave cylinder, bled it all through, and the clutch is working fine. We've got good hydraulic pressure. We're going into gear, we're coming out of gear, and if you hold your foot on the clutch, we're holding that clutch open, so our hydraulics are holding well. We've also checked we've got no clutch drag, so by putting it in gear and putting it out of gear and checking that the clutch is releasing from the flywheel and not dragging. So when you put your foot on the clutch, it's contacting and grabbing as it should do, and when you release, that clutch plate is coming back. So we're not dragging on the flywheel, as you will. We've also checked that our first motion shaft and our crankshaft, where the spigot bush goes into the two, they're rotating freely. So as far as we can tell, everything's working nicely, and when we get the car running, which is going to be after the dashboard very soon, we'll get to see if it all works nicely. I'll leave you with a little bit of imagery of the gearbox fitted and in place, with it all looking pretty, and we'll go from there. As always guys, as you know, if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from us, don't forget to subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and I'm sure we'll see you soon. Take care. Goodbye.